this is Teresa Sahi, and I'm coming live to you again, once again. This is day 5. It's the final day of Magnetism. So, let's see here. Yeah, so if you are able to jump on here with me, that would be awesome. I'm going to start here in just a moment, and we're going to cover some great information this evening. So yeah, so if you're able to get on, let me know where you're from, who's joining, how you doing, where are you watching in from. I am coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're joining, say where you're from, and are you ready to Day 5, right? Day 5 of Ignite Your Feminine Genius Magnetism. And so we're going to talk about what a man wants. And, you know, we've talked about so many things along the way. And so today we're going to maybe bring it all together and talk more about what he wants from a woman in a relationship. Hi, Essence. Nice for you to be here. Who else is watching? I think, yeah, from Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house again tonight. Excuse me. I think I saw a couple other gals there. Let me get me a sip of water here real quick. Okay. Well, you know I've been talking a lot to you this week, so let's just get started. I think there'll be some more coming here pretty soon, and this is Friday evening, right? So on the East Coast over there where you're at, Essence, I know that it's much later. So maybe there's some wonderful dates going on for some people, or just getting out of the house on a Friday night and having a glass of wine. Totally get it. The replay will be available for you. I have the replays in here 24 hours, so then I'll take them down, but I'll do it at midnight the next day. So you can definitely jump on. If you get to watch the replay, tell me that. Say replay. Okay, so here's where I want to start today. So now yesterday we talked about all things sexual energy, being in our body, connecting to our personal power system in our body, which is in our womb space area, and how that is really our grounding cord to Mother Earth and to divine guidance. And how when a woman is connected to that space in her body, it really gives her a level of confidence because she can walk differently. She feels like she's part of something instead of that energy in the headspace, right? Remember, that's more external, going, leaning forward, that type of a feeling. So hopefully you were able to take the practice that we went through last night and just did it a little bit today and see if you can connect, see if you can move that energy around in your body. See if you felt anything. If not, it's okay, and it takes practice, especially if we haven't been connected to our personal power source there, because when we get extremely busy and out in the world and doing so many things, we do disconnect from our personal power. We are more in the masculine energy, which is what we've been talking about here for all this entire week, and how when that happens to a woman, it can take her away from attracting a man into her life because she's showing up the same energy. Doesn't mean it's on purpose, and it doesn't mean that she doesn't sometimes need to be in that space. And we've talked through all that. So I hope that some of that has definitely helped you and give you some traits in day 1 and several things along the way. So hi, Raji. Thanks for joining again tonight. Where are you from, girlfriend? Type in there and let's see who's going to join us tonight. So yes, so here we go. So I want to, before I start talking about some of the things that are really attractive to a man when a woman is embodying them, first is to remind you that, I think I talked about this on day 1, so I want to just reiterate and remind again that, you know, this is an amazing time for women, and I like to call it as an evolutionary time, and it's because and evolutionary means it doesn't just happen overnight. Change happens in the world through evolutionary, so it takes years and years and things to happen. And so over the years, and it's becoming so much more prominent now, is women are having It's not just a man's world. It's been pretty much a man's world, but it's not just a man's world, and women are having more of a voice out in the world, and definitely in more leadership roles and having more opportunity, and it's just unfolding. And not just in the US, it's very prevalent here that it's happening, but it's also happening in other countries as well. So from St. Louis, hello, hi, thanks for typing in there. St. Louis, Missouri, I have been there because I'm from the Midwest, from Kansas, and I was up in that arch once before. I took my niece to the Shriners Hospital there. So welcome from St. Louis. Thanks for being here. So because all this change is happening in our society with women having more opportunity, women have learned how to be in leadership roles, how to step out and do more things and to have more to, but she's learned that a lot from the masculine, from the men that have been, you know, showing us the path of how to be successful and, you know, all this out in the world and be in charge of businesses and in charge of marketing and finance and all these things. And so we've been learning from that. But because we've been learning from that, that's putting us more in maybe a masculine energy. Now the feminine power conversation has been prominent too. And so it's becoming more and more understanding that there are other elements that's just not in this forceful, competitive, analytical, more of aggressive way of doing things. So women are starting to embrace this more and more, but it's still learning it, and it's part of it is not understood, and part of it is how, you know, do I be a leader at work, and what do I do? Because it's been kind of believed, and we talked about this on several days, that the feminine energy way of being is weak or powerless or kind of meek and back and can't make decisions, and that's so not true, right? And so, but that's only when we've gotten so far into being that way only. So as we discussed, there's a balance of the traits that we need to have success in business and that type of thing. But the difference was when it comes to relationship. So where I'm going with this is, as this wonderful time for women to have more opportunity, it has taken a detriment on relationships because, like I was saying, she's showing up in the masculine energy more than is conducive for creating that polarity with a man. So it's affecting relationships. It's affecting marriages. It's certainly not the only thing. It's just part of it. But the divorce rates are extremely high, so extremely high, and the marriages have had dropping all the time, so it's not the thing that's always happening, and that's partly because the attraction, the way that we have the dating sites, things are just different. And all of it's really good if we choose to see it the right way. So yeah, sometimes hard to get out of, absolutely. Alpha energy is the same as the masculine energy, because this is what we've been talking about, right? As it's because we have to, as single women, and we want to be successful and be creative and have our own businesses, or just be successful what we're doing, or just being a mother and taking care of things on our own. It's very doing energy. It's very get it done. It's very kind of that have to be in charge. So it's taken us to that side, and it's hard to really know how to get out of it and how do we change that. So this is why it's learning. We are learning. It's the evolution of that. And so through all of this, you know, I've been studying this for a long time, experienced it for a long time, and talking to a lot of women like you that are having different experiences, have been wanting to know what the heck is going on, right? So it's the reason why I created the Awaken Love experience, to help women through understanding all that. And we've been talking through different elements of that along the way. So I call it like the awakening woman, and that is you. You're wanting to, you're showing up. You're here wanting to learn more about relationships and how to attract the right man, and what is it he wants, and why hasn't it worked for me, and why can I only attract a man for a little bit then he goes away, or you know, or just going through a divorce and not knowing how to get back out there. All these things are part of it. Just a moment here. Something's happening on my... So it's all part of it. So instead of being another statistic on a dating site, you know, on a divorce, instead of not really listening to your intuition when you're showing up for this, and not following the internal wisdom and guidance that you said yes to being here, you said yes to explore more, but to continue to go with it. Because as evolutionary women, whether we choose to really get what that is, there's a feeling that we have. We know that we're meant for more, and we know that we're meant for more in love. But to really understand the bigger picture, that we have an opportunity to show younger women, to show our daughters, to show them that there is a better way to have relationships, that there doesn't have to be just more and more divorce. There is a way to have great dynamics, to have good communication. It's not about fighting. It's not about just mom is doing it all herself, but to show her. You know, we learn from our own parents too. And so the way it was for my mother when she was young, and my mother when I was a teenager, is not the same way it is for me, right? Or my daughter. So this is all how evolution works. And so it's a bigger opportunity for us to say, yes, I want to understand more about attracting the right relationships, and how I can sustain it, and how I can even help him. Because it's different for the man too. I mean, women are stepping out a little bit more, and then there's, you know, in the news, there's the sexual violence and the different things that have happened that come out, and those are all necessary to come out. But at the same time, right, maybe this man doesn't really know. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing, or he doesn't want to squash her power, but he doesn't understand her power, and sometimes her power squashes his power, or he feels like she's competing with him. So women really are the leaders of relationships, but it's not the leadership way that we think of when I talk about business leadership, or how a man leads in that forceful masculine energy. It's more from her wisdom and from her guiding in a different way, and supporting him and communicating in a different level. So this is really a bigger opportunity. So I just wanted to remind you of that when you say yes to you, you're saying yes to the future women, you're saying yes to your daughters, and you're saying yes to your future partner, or your now partner, that you can, it's going to get better, because you are choosing to understand it at a very deep level, and you're choosing to learn and show up and do what it takes to be your best self, so that he can support you, so you can attract the right men, so you can create the long-lasting relationship. So that requires us to really dive deep into not only the things that we've talked about throughout these last 4-5 days now, about the energies and the traits. That's all super powerful and amazing information. But oftentimes, and most of the time, change happens especially if we haven't received what we want. We've had bad relationships. We've been hurt. We've been witnessing family drama. We catch ourselves doing the same things. We know that something must be better because it hasn't felt good for a long, long time. And so those are just warning signs. We talked about warning signs on day 3. And to go a little bit deeper into ourselves, and to let go of the old belief systems, the hurtful things that got stuck onto us, and learn how to transform those, even though we don't know how yet. That's part of the Awaken Love and the Awakening Woman process. So I just wanted to remind you that you have a really big opportunity, and I applaud you for saying yes to even being here and following that wisdom and guidance of yourself. It's just now where we're going to take it, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but today is about what a man wants. What are those? We talked about traits, so it's not necessarily the traits now. It is, you know, the way that a woman can show up, and what what attracts him to communicate with her, to want to be with her, that inspires him, what he's looking for. I mean, so, you know, it's very important for us to look at ourselves, if we want a high quality man, then what does a high quality man want? You know, we talk about like what I want, or we talk about, well, what you want, or talk about what you don't want. But there's the other side of it as well, right? Well, what does he want? What does a high quality man want in a woman? And am I that? Am I stepping up to being what the man I want wants? Those kind of things, right? To look at it from that perspective. So let's just go through some of those, and it's just kind of fun, and I got to keep track of the time. So if you're just jumping on for the first time and you haven't said hi yet, please do, or say where you are from. It's nice to know who's watching, who's joining, and if you watch the replay, so that's all cool and groovy, just type in replay so I know who is here. Okay, thanks. All right, so, yeah. So a man is very attracted to a woman that has a little bit of mystery about her. Hi, Ronnie, thanks for joining tonight. Has a little bit of mystery about her. And so, you know, it's about holding some things back. It's about not sharing everything at once. It's about having that playful attitude. And just, you know, you can think of it like this. Sometimes when girlfriends get together, we want to just share, and talk about everything, and everybody's talking all over each other, and because it's fun, right? We want to have so much we want to say. But when you do that with a man, when you tell him about everything that you've experienced in every relationship that you've ever had, and every date that went wrong, and all the, you know, poor quality men that you've attracted, or all those things, it's way, way too much information. Hey, hi, thanks for joining. It's too much information, and they don't process information the same way that we do. They can't take all of it in at once, and it needs to be piece by piece, but also it keeps him interested when he doesn't know everything. And so the mystery comes about in a couple of ways. I mean, you know, we're kind of taught that they want, you know, I don't know, it's media, right? It's magazines, and some of it is truth, that the visual is, you know, the more skin you show, the more I get the attention. Right, yeah, so that's, you know, sometimes that doesn't leave a lot of mystery, but not every man wants it that way, or the man that you would want, the high quality man that you would want to be your partner, that's not necessarily what he's looking for either. He's looking for a high quality woman. Yes, he's attracted by the look and that she's, you know, put together nicely, but it's not just that. Mystery also comes in just getting to know her a little bit at a time. So it's just sharing little pieces of yourself. It's not like, you know, barfing everything about you. Excuse me for saying that way, but I just want to make that understood, that that's what attracts him. Okay. Another way that a man likes a woman to show it up is, we talked about this on a couple of the days ago, about showing up in kind of a fun, adventurous, open-minded way. Men are in their energy of their headspace, that forward, get it done, thinking, analytical, logical, and they really want to get out of their heads. They just don't know how to get out of their head. We are practicing, right? You've got some ways that you can practice how to drop out of that energy and into your body. And when you do that, you're a soft place for him to land. He wants to be inspired out of his head, to have some laughter, to have some lightheartedness, to be able to relax a little bit in your company and not feel like he has to always be on. That's really a big turn on, to be able to show that fun, silly side of yourself. It helps him to be relaxed. It's not always being so serious. So like Essence was saying, it's hard to get out of the alpha. So when we're in the alpha, which is the masculine energy, because if we went on the date after work, or we went home to our mate after work, and we're just being all serious, and he comes home from work, or he meets after work too, then everybody's being super serious. And so he doesn't know how to get out of that headspace, so it's the guidance. So there's ways that women lead the relationship, not only in the beginning, meeting and that, but also in everyday life, when she's able to embrace this other side of herself and understand that that really is attractive to him, even though he may not always know it or be able to articulate it. It kind of like keeps him interested and leaning in more to you. So a man does not really appreciate so much a woman that's complaining and nagging. Now, that's obvious, right? We know that. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but we do know that. But at the same time, it's very helpful for a man, for a woman to be able to ask for what she wants. So asking is not the same as demanding or complaining about it. I remember dating years ago, and I don't remember the specific topic that I was talking to this man about. But I remember, I've always remembered this. He would just say, Teresa, what is it that you want? You have to know that, and this is just silly, but this is what he said. You have to know that I'm a man, and men, we are just a box of rocks. We can't figure out all of that you're trying to say, and we're supposed to like guess and all of that. Just know that if you want me to know something, if you want something, just ask me. Just be clear. So yeah, I always remembered that. He was being very adamant that, so it's always like, just a box of rocks, right? And then, we know they're very smart, intelligent people, but that was just an example of how they can't read our minds. That doesn't work. And so if we're expecting something, because you know how we are as women, we get all worked up about things that birthdays, holidays, Valentine's Day, because the media has taught us that that's so important, that if our man's not doing the right thing, then he's not treating us right. And so we take on those ridiculous beliefs and somehow we impart them on him. Things like that. So, even when it comes to a gift, some men are really good about it and some men are not. So we just have to be really intuitive to our man too, and not set him up to fail. And it's not really just about gifts and things like that. Even in the relationship, even in, what our interests are, the things that we enjoy, that type of thing. Also, a man is very attracted to a confident woman. So, I do a lot of research on the different traits of the masculine and the feminine, and sometimes I find information that says that confidence is more of a masculine trait. I guess it's how you want to define confidence, right? If you think of it as like just overly assertive and external type going for it, yes, it is. But it's also a feminine trait, in my opinion, because confidence is an inner knowing of yourself and believing in yourself. And you don't have to force yourself out there, but you can still accomplish things and get things done, and you can still feel good about yourself. You can still continue to work through things for yourself if you find that something's not working and you've had experiences that have held you back. It's always good to look within first, and it feels very confident to do that and to know that we are progressing and that we're up leveling and that we're choosing to learn from experiences and not choosing to be in drama or victimhood or those type of things. and it feels very confident to be connected in our body. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. So I've done interviews with men and things like that, and because of I'm a love coach, and one thing that probably came out more than anything that was a turnoff was a woman that they would say is a beautiful, smart woman, and even asking about that description, there was all types of description of that. But what makes her beautiful is that she holds herself in confidence. But a woman that has really got a lot going for her, he sees that, but she puts herself down. She holds herself like at a lower level. She talks down about herself, that she can't do things, that there's something wrong with her. And then she talks negatively about other women and puts herself in a comparison game. That was a huge, huge, huge turnoff. I've heard it so many times. And so it's not that as women we ever intend to do that, or that you do that, but you might know somebody that does that, or you might heard your girlfriend do that, or you might have done it once or twice, or you definitely might have felt it. But it's an energy that is very repelling to men. To just like, confidence to a man isn't that you're an aggressive, it's that you accept yourself and you find your good qualities, and you talk about yourself in kindness, and you talk about other women in kindness, right? So, you know, society always wants to pit women together and compete and compare, but we know sisterhood is very powerful. And so we just want to hold on to that. And if you've had a bad situation where a woman has done you wrong or hurt you, a bad experience, you know, maybe she didn't know better. Maybe it's time to heal that wound. Maybe it's time to move on and forgive and help each other through that. There's a certain level of love and understanding that only really women can give to women that we don't get from men. And so if we expect all of that to come from the man, it's not going to happen. He isn't able to give on that level. So if you find yourself having, you know, bad energy with women, jealous of other women, it's really an internal thing to work on. It's really probably nothing to do with her, but it's something that is very distasteful in the eyes of men. Okay, so men also want to be with, like I said, a high quality woman too. A woman that he can see himself with. Okay, just a minute here. A woman that he can see himself with, that he can see a future with. A woman that looks like, acts like, positions herself that she is interested in life and living life. She has an interesting life right now. She's doing things for herself. She's showing up in a positive way, and she's not showing up that in a desperate, she needs a man to save her, to do all of that, everything for her, because she can't do it herself. She doesn't talk about herself that way. She doesn't talk down about herself that way. She doesn't come across as overly nice. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's definitely true. Overly nice means like a people pleaser. Remember we talked about that on day 3 about the dysfunctions that we might take on, people pleasing or over giving and being too nice, just saying yes to everything and being kind of meek in that way, and like, I have to be nice, you won't get mad at me. It's very distasteful in the eyes of men, and it kind of turns them off. What else? We talked about appreciation, right? We talked about that a lot. We talked about vulnerability, maybe a little bit. So vulnerability, when we show up with a guarded heart, like, you know, and that can come across in body language, right? That could come across in several ways, or it could come across when we're telling all the stories of past relationships. I mean, you could feel like, well, she's not really available. She's not available. She's not ready. She doesn't want this. I don't even know if I should go there, because is she going to like think all those things about me? But being vulnerable is, he understands, he feels you. He feels that you have desires. You're not needy, you're not meek, but you have desires and you know what you want and you're open to explore it. That doesn't all come out on the first date or the first meeting, right? Because there's still the mystery. But he feels the warmth, the openness, the lightness, the energy, the fun. That's what a man is looking for from a woman. A place that he can relax into, that not feel pressured about everything, to figure it all out on day one. But the truth of it is, a man likes to set the pace of a new relationship, so they don't really understand their feelings as fast as women do. So you might know that, oh my gosh, this is like, he's the one, or I'm just really attracted to him. I don't know that he's the one, but I really know that I want to go out again. I want to date him again. I really this, that. So women often come across like trying to push it a little faster, so that when we're not getting the text or the phone call, it's because we're already ready to be ready, right? But they're not there yet. And so pushing it too quickly scares them off. It comes across as needy. It comes across as desperate. It comes across completely the opposite of what you want it to come across as. So yeah, so men don't set they need to set the pace of it, at least in the very beginning. What else do I have here on my list? Space. So I guess it goes along a little bit with what I just said there, but men really like space. You know, you probably have heard of the cavemen. They go into the cave, you know, so if you've been in relationships, and so think of it like this. So you've been in a relationship and you're having a discussion with your partner, or, you know, your past, or just think about this. And you're making your point. Maybe you're not listening as much as you could. Maybe you're wanting to be heard. Whatever, right? So he doesn't process it all as fast as we can deliver it. And if he feels like you are in the same, you know, in the masculine energy, and coming at him and being too forceful and not receiving his information and his comments as well, and maybe telling him he's wrong, those type of things. Okay, so he just wants to escape the room and walks away, right? And he leaves the room and he wants to be left alone. It's very non-conducive to follow him and to go into that space, because even though it feels like you want to say your piece and say what you want to say and be heard, that's not the time to do it. So you need to allow him his space, and he will come back to you. He processes it differently. So these are really ways of being in a relationship, ways of understanding a man, ways to know exactly the things that he can pick up on, just like we can pick up on about him, even, you know, even in the very beginning, So a woman that really shows up, and I really want to drive this at home, in her confidence, in her knowing who she is, knowing what she wants, and not forcing it on him, but knowing it feels really good to him. And allowing him, by him knowing that she knows, it also lets him to understand, by the way she communicates that she's allowing space in for him. So when a woman knows and communicates it, that she's open to different things, open to relationship, and she's not demonstrating that, well, I've got to do this, this, and this, and this is what I do, and it doesn't show him there's space for him, but to show him that she has dreams and she's open and she's on that journey of that, and she's, you know, that opportunity, he can see a way that he can fit into her life and things that he can do with her. So just understand that those are the kind of things that men look for in a woman, and look for the time and space to develop the relationship at a slower pace than what a woman does. So is some of that making sense to you? If you want to, I know a few of you are here with me. If you want to comment, anything that you have experienced that you want to share. I can see the, you know, the screen better if I look down this way. Anything that you've experienced, any of those surprises, any, what else do I have here on my list? Yeah, there was quite a few of them I said there. Trust is a big one. You know, those are, trust and vulnerability are big ones for women to, you know, it's understandable. If you've had relationship issues, past things that's happened to you, things that have hurt you. Yeah, absolutely. Those are big ones to be able to trust. You know, sometimes we've made decisions and we've been wrong. And then so the trust isn't just that we don't know if we can trust the next one, but it's that we don't even know if we can even trust ourselves and where we've been, and because of what we did. I didn't even trust my decision. Look what happened before, especially if that's happened a few times, right? We picked the wrong one. We've misjudged. We thought that he cared and he didn't care. We thought this was going to work this time. We thought he was going to show up. We, you know, and sometimes we can't even trust ourselves, let alone trust a man. So that's exactly what the bigger picture is about. It's not about just the traits, not about just where do I find him. It's not about just what's the best dating site. It's not about just those things. All of those things are okay. The energies is a big one, but the biggest piece of all of it is who you are on the inside, and your willingness to say yes to yourself. Say, yes, I'm ready to change what's happened to me. I'm saying yes to, I really want this relationship to work this time. I really want to meet a decent man. I'm saying yes that I want to get out of the house and find somebody to spend my life with. Instead of saying, no, I can't do that. No, I'm going to get hurt again. No, I can't open up my heart again. But say yes to learning how to do that. Saying yes, I'm open to the process. Say yes to yourself. Saying yes to the desire, to allowing the desire to unfold, to allowing love to come to you even though it's been blocked from your heart for a long time, right? Yes is a big one. So what is it that you want to experience in your relationship? What is it that you want the man to say to you? What is it that you want to have a future doing with him? What is it that you want to be able to share with him? What is it that you want to be able to learn from your partner? What is it that you want to be having for breakfast? Where is it that you want to be going for your next vacation? So we talked about saying yes yesterday, saying yes to our own pleasure, saying yes to feeling good in our body, saying yes to love in ourselves first. That's the foundation of everything. So if we continue to do the same things over and over, and we just put our toe in, and then so we listen to this information and we go, okay, so I think I got all I need. And then we go out in the world again and take this one little piece of information, like this is what a man likes. He wants me to be more fun, but we haven't worked, we haven't transformed the things that are really the foundation of who we are, that really haven't opened up trust, that really haven't opened up our heart, that we really haven't chosen to look at the bigger picture. Everything that hasn't come to you in your relationship is worth having. The fact that sometimes, you know, we have to keep experiencing the pain, unfortunately, the drama sometimes, the wrong guy, until we decide to do something different, right? So saying yes to love is more than just another dating site or just another tip or trick. It's really saying yes to ourselves, because we're on an evolutionary track to change the future of what it could be if I just stayed where I'm at right now. If you just chose to stay in that bad relationship and you just chose to, okay, well, he's just too busy to call. He's just too busy to answer. Okay, so, you know, he only calls like just before he's coming over, but all during the week, doesn't say anything. So, you know, like in your heart, you know, like, well, what's up with that? Am I just another booty call, right? But why doesn't he exchange the loving words with me? Why doesn't he tell me he cares about me? Why is it only when I say it first? Why is it those things? So those are the bigger things that's happened, and, you know, that are happening, that we have to choose, not just ignore it and wait for him to change, right? We have to be in charge of our own life, our own love. We have to make the hard decisions. Do I go? Do I stay? Is this the right one or not? I mean, the truth of it is, if it hurts that bad, then until it can feel better with him, you need to let it feel better within you. Because we just tend to show up. You know, I was working with this woman a while ago, and she was an alpha, the masculine, right? She was this petite woman that was very business savvy, traveled all over the world, and companies would hire her to come in when they were downsizing. And so she had to do that tough job of letting people go. It's a very tough job. And so she did have to have thick skin and show up that way. And so she had learned over time, and she had learned by having relationships with married men. I don't think she did any of that on purpose. It just seemed that that's at work is where she was meeting them, but of course it never worked out. So she became very, very, very hurt, very down on herself, and in her, what ended up happening to her is she wasn't showing, then she would, you know, trying to fix herself and work through not going out with dating married men and knowing that that was wrong, but she became so disconnected from her personal power, and she wasn't masculine alpha when she would try to go out on dates. What happened to her was she became very needy and desperate. And so when I started working with her, I mean, she came across at first like so strong and powerful, right? And so in that space, and so guarded, and I so understood it. I've seen it so many times, but really, she was just really, 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 really hurt. She just didn't know what to do, but she knew enough. She knew enough that she wanted to work on the foundation. She knew that the masculine energy, she'd heard that, she'd been told that you're so small, but you've like a fireball, and not in a fun way. So she became like very self-conscious of that. And then through dating married men from work and being, of course, those didn't work out, and having a broken heart, just weak. So, but what I'm saying to you is, we just have to look. Not that may not be your situation at all, but we all have our own situations. You have your own situations. But until we look at the foundation of ourselves, until we build up from the inside, that's the feminine, right? The feminine genius. She can definitely come alive. She can definitely radiate. But you get to add in the piece of understanding him in there. You get to start exudating that confidence, that high quality woman energy that a high quality man wants. You get to start attracting different types of situations because you have peeled back the layers and you've worked through what has been imparted on you, and you've self-sabotaged yourself maybe too much from it, right? You have kept doing this habit over and over again. So awaken love, that's where I'm going to you in this conversation. Awaken love takes you through that whole journey. So I want you to understand that if the foundation doesn't go through transformation, doesn't learn how to let go of the habits, the pain, even go through own self-forgiveness, even understand what may be self-sabotaging you. You know, sometimes, like for example, what that could look like, a single woman, you know, either has been divorced or just been single for a long time, and, you know, she wants to change it. She wants to change it, but it's scary, right? She hasn't understood how, or hasn't said yes to her own opportunity to work through the things that have happened, that have hurt her, that have caused her to have fear issues. So safe to her is, I want to go somewhere, but she ends up going nowhere because she hasn't been able to get out of the house, because that feels so safe to her, even though her desire is so strong. So that's a self-sabotage, is wanting something so bad but not allowing yourself to have it, not saying a complete yes to working through. And so another year goes by, and another year goes by, and then after a while, those feelings of, I just give up, there's no good men out there, it's never going to happen to me, when the truth of it is, the opportunity is just kind of like opening the door. It's literally like opening the door. So it's like opening the door to your heart. It's like opening the door to see in the closet of what is all piled up in there that is in the way from him seeing me, or me seeing him. So the Awaken Love process is that process. It takes a woman through that layer, and it might be layer by layer, to rebuild. The feminine genius woman is in you. The high quality woman is in you. The evolutionary woman is in you. The awakened woman is in you. It's just through the process, the journey, the experiences that you've had that have put you in the place that you are right now, if it's a place that you don't want to be, and if it's even a place that you want to be. Everything takes us there. So if it's not where you want to be, it's time to say yes, like a complete yes. Say yes to having epic love. Say yes to meeting a quality man. Say yes even if you don't know how, because that's the whole thing. We think we have to know how. So as women, we've been learned that we, you know, need to make the money to take care of our kids, to take care of the home, to take care of the family, to take care of the elderly parent, to pay the bills, to pay the car, to take care of our everything, to do the job, to do the volunteer work, but not to take care of ourselves. So now is the time to say yes to yourself, because if you don't ever say yes to yourself, he can't ever say yes to you. He can't ever show up the one that you really want, the one that you long for. The longing doesn't go away. It just gets stuffed further and further down there. And so then it becomes like, it's, you know, a belief that it's never going to happen, that it won't happen, because that is a true belief, that where it will go to. But it becomes like this dark, empty hole, this space inside. And those are the kind of things, and not just relationships, but in a lot of, you know, but those are the kind of things that cause addictions, that cause high stress, that cause the wrong kind of weight gain, or the wrong kind of, you know, different addictions that hurt us. Emotional pain is the worst. It's the worst. It affects every organ, every part of us, every relationship, family, friends, everything. So we're not going to go into all of that, because this is about like choosing to say yes and choosing to go for the evolutionary love, the awakened love. So I want to take you on that journey if you want to go on that journey. If you're really willing and ready and committed to having him hold your hand, to having amazing, awesome, sexy dates, to travel with your partner, to have conversations that give you belly laughs, to have somebody that will feed you grapes in bed, to have somebody that will take you and drink the grapes in a wine glass, to have somebody with you to take those selfies with, to have somebody with you that when you had a hard day or somebody flipped you off in traffic, that, you know, will listen to you when you want to talk about it, when you're going to cry about it. You don't have to cry alone. You don't have to be alone, right? But you're going to be the same for him, because a man needs the same thing. He may not express it or be as emotional, but when a woman can show up in her true feminine and allow him the space to be himself, to have a soft place to land, to inspire him out of his head, to give him a hug when he's had a really hard day, and to say, wow, you did a really great job. Yeah. Works both ways. And so just go for your dream. And if this is speaking to you, and if you really are committed and you want to know more, you can definitely book a call with me. I don't know if I put a link here today, but it's teresasahi.com. You can book a call with me. I can tell you exactly how it can help you and put you in your future dream space immediately, and just start unfolding that feminine genius love map that I talked to you about, to really give that to you so that you'll know what to do, so that you don't have to face that fear, face being vulnerable, face the negative self-talk, face going out there on your own, or not knowing where to go, or not knowing what to say, but mostly not knowing how to open up your heart and how to forgive yourself, or how to forgive whoever, whatever, but just say yes to you. So, yeah, so we've had 5 amazing days, amazing information. I have my calendar open. It's open through the weekend. You can just, when you go to teresasahi.com, you'll see information there, but there'll be a button on the page, and you'll go there, and it'll take you to a calendar to pick a date and time. I'll receive that. There'll be a few questions to answer, and it's really like, allow yourself to say yes to what you really want. Don't just dipping your toe in the water this time. Go the distance. Go all the way. And trust me, if you can't even trust yourself right now, and you don't know how to trust him, just trust me. That's what I do. That's what I do for women. Walk them through that journey and help them to have the experiences of their life, and to wonder why they didn't say yes before. So say yes now. Okay, so if there's any questions, I am open to answer those. I'm open to answer those on the private consultation. I'm open to answer them right here. Yeah. So I don't see anything. So I'm still open to, you know, if you think of something